Welcome to Carolina Varsity's 2011 State Championship Preview of the 4AA game, featuring Garner Magnet representing the East and Greensboro Page High School representing the West. Dale, you were at the game, you were down on the field shooting camera work. Obviously Page 35-21. I think Garner was better than most people expected. Close game, Garner had a lot of speed, very quick. Page, once again, very opportunistic, especially their defense. They take advantage of situations. Once again, Summers made big plays, but I was impressed with Garner. I didn't think Garner would, I thought the game would be fairly close, but Garner really impressed me. I thought their speed caused some problems for Page, and just a really good competitive game.
Yeah, the first half, I felt really there at halftime. I was talking with some people on the sidelines, and I made the comment that, Garner gave Page 2 scores, basically. And, it very well could have been a 0-0 ball game at halftime. I felt like Garner actually outplayed Page other than those mistakes, the tip pass that was actually, as I went back and looked at film, looked at my pictures, looks like it was actually thrown to the wide receiver, and the short receiver went up and hit it and tipped it, so it really wasn't his ball. Defensive player came up, made the play and scored. Really an easy play for him. I was really impressed with number 2 for Garner. Yeah, exactly. Very, very good ball player. So at halftime, I kind of felt like, it's a 0-0 ball game is, kind of what I was commenting on, and Garner was playing the better game, but Garner just couldn't punch in and get scores. So, even if they came out and things stayed the same, we could end with a 14-0 ball game. But my next comment was that, Page is a second half team that makes great adjustments and has, the last 2 weeks has come out and played better football in the second half against Butler and then Mallard Creek. And I said, so we can expect that the same thing's going to happen here. Of course, the coach on the other side may make some adjustments as well. Well, of course, Page came out in the second half and took that first drive down and scored. And I kind of felt like that really set the game right there. That was the difference maker for me. That kind of told me that, definitely Page got themselves in gear. They knew what they needed to do. The Summers kid is phenomenal. Saw him in the scrimmage early in the year.
South Mac.
Exactly. Kind of hard to tell, what kind of kid he is, but man, I tell you, what an athlete. Overall, I was very impressed with, the job that the Page coaching staff did. Ultimately, won the ball game. Didn't blow out, but certainly kept that lead that they had. Garner looked like they might be able to pull it, make it close, and they did. But Page just did what they had, what they had to do to win the ball game, and very impressive win, I think, for Page.
Definitely. Moy told us he weighed 157 pounds.
Yeah.
So probably didn't get a lot of big looks from schools. That kid's definitely a player. He had 2,200 yards going into that game and had a great game that night. On offense for Page, Summers was his usual self. Their receivers always play good. Hatfield mainly, but Drew Rogers, his running back, has had a good season, but we hadn't really paid quite as much attention to him. But he made some phenomenal runs, and one, it looked basically like he was playing hopscotch, jumping back and forth, and really made a spectacular run to get them where he needed to go on that play. So I was impressed all the way across the board with the defense. But the one kid who really stood out to me was, he played offense and defense, started on defense, was number 35, World.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
And he had the 2 little, the 2 runs they used with a little fullback trap, and then he also got pass out in open field, kind of got his feet took out from under him, and kept going and keeping his hand on the ground. Basically, it looked like a little tripod moving down the field there, using his left hand as he held the ball. So I was very impressed with him, and he was actually, he was one of their players they brought into the press conference, and the coach was high on him. But Kevin Gillespie this year, in my opinion, probably should be the coach of the year in the state. I mean, you can make an argument for Hal Capps, and you can make an argument for other guys in the state, but I was really impressed with what they did.
Well, I don't know how you could vote against him when you see that he took you know, probably even in the Butler game, they had less overall talent, you know, player to player. They probably matched up better, more talent-wise, but still, Butler was loaded with talent. Of course, Mallard Creek is just a beast of talent, and he definitely outcoached both of those teams. And then when we saw Garner, you know, we really didn't know what we were going to get. You know, were we going to get a, you know, a slow, you know, kind of play in the mud type team. Garner actually showed that they had a good set of athletes, good speed. They were all over the field, and again,
complete package, well
coached. And again, he takes his team in at halftime and he corrects. You know, they had issues, especially with lining up. I think they had 3.
Page had 4.
It was 4.
Page had 4 penalties where they lined up with not having, you know, enough men on the line of scrimmage. Yeah. And at one time it was a receiver issue, didn't cover, but the other times they were saying one of the tackles was too far in the backfield. It was a guard. The guard was too far in the backfield. And, you know, the coach said we did the same thing for 15 straight games, and then tonight we get hit with it.
I've got some pictures. I don't have the pictures on the plays that were called, but Page lines their lineup. In my opinion, they line up just a little bit too far back. They're not on the hip. So you can see fists down in the, actually their fists down in the ground at the angle is behind the hip. It's actually on the butt. So they are lining up real close. You know, all it takes is a kid to, you know, to take one more step, half a step back from where he normally is at. But, you know, regardless, he would get my vote for, or he gets my vote as Coach of the Year. I think he did a phenomenal job. He has talent there's no question, but you know, when you line them up against other teams, you just don't see. You pull the Summers kid out, and you know, the rest of the team is not an overwhelming, you know, beast of athletes. Great football players, and all that being a football player has to do with your coach and being in position. You know, playing good technique, having a sound mind, having sound character, and playing as a team. And that's the other thing is I never saw that team get down on each other at all. Of course, they were never behind, but they weren't playing the best ball game in the first half.
You know, I'll agree with that. When he played Mallard Creek, I was at that game, and they didn't start freaking out or doing anything, you know, and having the arguments with each other when they got behind, and Mallard Creek's going to be taking it to them a little bit. So they have a good team concept there. They have the team deal going on. No I in team with them. And Summers is a big, you know, he's not a guy who steps up and takes a lot of accolades. He's a real team oriented guy. We can tell by talking to him. So good day for Greensboro and Guilford County, the Triad, especially for Coach Gillespie and Page High School. Congratulations to them for getting back to a state title game and winning one, I guess, for the first time since about '86. So, you know, we'll see what they can do next year. I think they're losing a lot, but the pirate ship steamed in and rolled on out with the booty on that thing.
Exactly.
Okay, that's it for the 4AA playoffs and 4AA season. Greensboro Page victorious, undefeated this year, 16-0. Congratulations.